Welcome to another exciting episode of the Million Dollar Peddlers. I'm Paper Guy.
I'm Mr. Magazine.
Mr. Magazine,
Yes,
you fancy yourself a busy person
sometimes.
with a lot of stuff going on all the time.
Most of the time.
How do you keep track of it?
A lot of it's day to day. But for me, I'm on my email a lot. So I check my email on my phone, check my email when I'm working. So if I make any reminders, I just email myself anything to remind myself what I'm doing. It's probably 95% effective. There's some things that slip through the cracks, and hopefully my wife or my manager will pick that 5% up for me. But I don't like texting myself. For some reason, I don't always check my text. It's a weird thing, so I have to email myself.
Yep. And I bring that up because we have a mutual friend, the mysterious benefactor, and he always makes notes. I've always made notes since grade school. I've always made notes of important things to do. And I know that you used to make notes. Now you email yourself. Now I email myself. And I remember having this conversation with Random Neighborhood Kid any number of times because, and granted at the time he was some dopey 15-year-old, and 15-year-olds, nothing against him at all, are not generally the most responsible. And I was always telling him, do this, do this, do this. You've got all of this available to you, yet you don't know when anything's going on. Mm-hmm. You need to keep track of it. You have to do it. And that was when I told him, hey, mysterious benefactor writes notes to himself. I write notes to myself. There are reasons why, and I mentioned that you did as well.
Actually, I still do. So for emails are important. Notes are for very important. For example, like the amount of money you've loaned me. I wrote that down as a backup on a notepad. A mysterious benefactor, what I owe him, I wrote that down. So certain things like
that's a big notepad.
Loans, exactly. And there's other people on there, sadly, but hopefully a lot of that's going to go away in the next 6 months to a year. Not years, it's very large, but nevertheless, do the best we can. But yeah, there's important things I do save in a folder, like notes. I got a folder with notes in it and stuff, and that's very important stuff. That if my emails went down or something, I got it backed up.
Yep, and there's a reason why we do that. And so if you find yourself out there just at a loss, I will tell you this. There are times in life where I get stressed out. And it's because there's a lot of things over my head, but I haven't really... I just know this is coming up. I'm going to have to do this. I'm going to have to do this. Yeah. And even at the day job, I find that if I take 5 minutes... and I even write down the tasks that I have to do. Yeah. And sometimes if there's a lot of stuff going on, I'll write down short-term tasks, middle-term tasks, and long-term tasks. Yeah. Hey, this show is coming up in 4 months, and I've got to get a hotel for it. Yeah. Well, that's a longer-term task, right. But at least it's on the list. Yeah. Because that way things don't slip through the cracks. Yeah. And I do the same thing you do with emailing myself. But I want to, and one of the big places that I do that at is I do it for the show, the live show. Check it out, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays. I'll have something or other that you'll send me. I'll do what you tell me about in there, or whatever things. Like sometimes you'll send me a low offer, insulting offer, and you'll mention it in our ban. So I'll take it, I'll check, I'll ban. But then what I do, and you'll find this to be a pretty good trick as well, especially if you go and you have something that you need to do every week. Like I have to make the show notes every week. Mm-hmm. I mark them as unread. And then when I go back in on Monday doing the show notes, everything that I've sent myself regarding the show from Thursday morning till Monday is all marked as unread.
That's how I do my important stuff. Yeah. I don't know if you see if you're going through my emails, there's bold. Yeah. And then if I don't do it, I'll forward again to the next Monday because I go through all my emails with you on Monday.
Yeah. 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 So marking it as unread, then I come in every Monday and I say, what's the show going to be about? And what happened during the past week? Oh, this is marked as unread, and there it is. Oh, there's a note. Oh, let me put this in. Let me put this in. And that's a great little trick. Another thing that I definitely will do all the time is with the calendar on the phone. Do you use that?
No, I should, but I don't.
Like, I'll give you a perfect example. I actually have a buy coming up, and what I'll do is I will put it on the day. I'll put the address of the buy as well as the time right there. So that way when the time comes, I just look at my phone, here's the guy's address, and I have to be there at this time. But all of these are just various tricks to make sure that nothing does slip through the cracks, as you said it. And there's no right or wrong way to do it, as long as you're showing up where you need to be and what needs to be, get done does get done.
Right.
But, paper notes work a lot of times, mainly as the overall. The other nice thing about paper notes is you can cross stuff off and check it off as you get it done.
Yeah.
And then you actually feel like you're making some progress on things.
Sure.
Because you got 12 things down that you have to do today.
Yeah.
And you start crossing them off, and you're like, oh, I'm down to 4 things left. That's not so bad.
Yeah, and what I usually do for day to day, I'll, as soon as I get into my desk at the shop, I'll chip away at all the easy stuff. Just knock out 4, 5, 6, 7 things, and then I'll have one important thing that I'll do that day, especially if it requires a phone call, like say eBay. I'll get one out of the way, but I'm not going to have 3 phone calls, because you can be on the phone an hour with some of these people, or the gas electric company or something, unless it's a time restraint where I have to call today because it's due or something like that, or it's, I'm going to get kicked off. But for usually a bunch of little stuff first, and then one very important thing. I try and tackle that every day.
Right, and that's actually a very good way to do it as well, because you feel like you're making some accomplishments. So I will put really small tasks on my list alongside the big ones. Like, oh my gosh, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to, oh look, I did that already. Oh, I'm making progress. And did that one thing really have to even be on the list? Probably not. I probably would have remembered. But then when I look on the list, it's like, oh, I've actually made progress on stuff as well.
Right.
So it's kind of a trick that you use as well, just to feel like you're accomplishing something.
Sure, yeah. Cool, very good.
Yeah, so just, I don't know how you're doing it out there. If you've got any best practices, how you do it, definitely do comment down below. We would appreciate it. But again, there's so much going on, and it isn't just with work, obviously. It's with life as well, and all these various things. If you've got kids, you got to keep track of all that. Well, these are all just different tricks to do. So yeah, using the calendar on your phone, using the emails, sending them to yourself, marking them as unread. That way they jump out at you, because otherwise, how many emails do you get in a day, do you think, Mr. Magazine?
Hundreds.
So if you didn't mark it as unread, sometimes it would just fall off into the abyss.
Yeah, like I said, if it's old, I forward it to myself again, and then it's new again.
Well, and another trick that I do at my work is I will set up some folders on various things, tasks that I have to get done within a certain period of time, but isn't something that has to get done today. I'll set up, recurring type tasks. I'll set up folders, and I'll move emails into those folders, and then when I need to do something or other, I just go into the folder and I kind of work on the stuff that way as well. So that's another way to do it as well, depending upon if your email will allow you to set up folders or not. So hopefully that helps you a little bit. Again, staying on top of all of the things. There's always a lot of balls in the air when we're doing this. A lot of spinning plates, as they say. So the easier you can make it and the more you can stay on top of it, the better off you're going to be. Hopefully that helps you a little bit. Hit the like button if you could. That'll definitely help us. You don't even need to make yourself a note. I think you can remember that one. And we'll see you next video.
Take care. Bye-bye.